Okay, now I am delighted to introduce David Rumsey, the arc of David's life, and he's right here. David inspires me. You guys might not know that David was an artist. I have to make sure I get all the pictures in here because they're incriminating. David was an artist. Now, by the way, so there's multiple people here that I have had some, there's multiple pictures and personas or masks that they wear. And so this is David's online avatar. And of course, David on the left. But now for bonus points, can anybody tell me where David is in this picture? With the hoodie. That's David with the hoodie. So he lived on a commune. He combined his love of art with his technological capability to create a light show / art installation in the Boston Common. Or that David was a very successful real estate investor. But you probably do know that for more than 2 decades, David has been a prolific map collector and the driving force behind the David Rumsey Map Center, which is one of my favorite spots on the planet. I admire many things about David. One is that he has had numerous mentors in his life and he regularly appreciates them. I highly encourage you to look into the background of these gentlemen. And another thing I admire is that he is a tinkerer and an experimenter. And on what he is now tinkering is the subject, I hope, of his talk. There you go.
Well, it's wonderful to have you all back here. We continue at the Map Center to sort of work both in the physical world and the digital world. That means adding new items, physical items to the collection, but also continuing to digitize everything we have. Last night, I added some maps to my davidrumsey.com collection, which is now 125,001 maps online, so that I could announce that to you today. It's been a long labor of love. Julie Sweetkind-Singer, who's in the back, started it with me in 1999, Julie, I believe. Yeah. So we continue to grow in those directions. We have added, also thanks to Julie, she told me about a globe maker in London, Peter Bellerby, who's an amazing man. And he is really the best maker of bespoke modern globes. And you can see one right over here, 80 centimeters of the world that we got for the Map Center. You can roll it with your hands. It's meant to be touched. Peter runs a whole amazing studio. We also got some of his globe gores, which you see here. And this is, they hand paint all of the gores. And there's the globe itself that's right in the room. Then we georeference the gores. We scan them and georeference them. And this, now they're all combined into one ungeoreferenced or unprojected piece that we can then make into a globe. Okay. Give me 1 second, Stacy's gonna. So these digital globes you'll also see on the touch table and on this other screen. You can play with them and do various things, enlarge and so on. Okay, there we go. Thank you. We can also then reproject them. This is one of my favorite projections. It's a good projection. We can put them in Bucky Fuller's projection and so on. They come in amazing colors. This is the yellow ochre. Glenn Bachman from my studio in San Francisco is here. He actually did all of the hard work of joining these gores together. There it is as a globe. And this is his Prussian blue, also as a globe. So we continue to work with Bellerby. He's wonderful. For many years, I was prodded by Chet Van Duzer, who's going to present today, to build an actual version of Urbano Monti's 10-foot 1587 map of the world. And we finally were able to get it done. I urge you to look at it in the library. Here it is when we were putting it up. It's in Hobach Hall. It's 10 foot. It's a rotating wheel. Here's the person, the wallpaper person, putting the facsimile up. He was very proud of his work. And there's the guy who really did the complex, you know, it's a very heavy object, so it has a series of things that support it. Anyway, there it is, finished. And you can turn it just the way Monty intended. So I urge you to take a look at that. Here's a class. Several classes have visited it. Had a lot of fun. We've also added 2 world globes that you can see downstairs in the cases at the entrance to the Map Center. By Hondius, 1647. They're just remarkably well preserved. The special feature here on the world globe is this Lagos Stallatius Apadachius. It's a salt lake, Appalachian salt lake, completely fictitious, and I think it may be the only place it shows, but it distinguishes the globe from any other. And then here's the celestial globe. So they're both a remarkable pair. I hope you'll look at them. We also added behind you on the wall, Harrison Riker's fantastic 1938, 164 aerial views shot with his own plane of San Francisco. And it's just a remarkable piece of history. You can see the sand dunes and the sunset. It's quite special. We have a new director, a new head and curator, Evan Thornberry, that Tom mentioned. He's starting in October. We're really excited to have him join us. He comes from University of British Columbia, where he was map librarian, also the Leventhal Map Center in Boston. So he has a very strong background in GIS and historical maps. Salim Mohammed, who gave us 11 wonderful years, stepped down in January. We so appreciated his work. And then, of course, Stace Maples. Thank you, Stace. In the back has been the interim head since January. So we have some changes. We have a new touch screen, which you'll see over by the cases there. It's the first 8K touch screen, so it's very high resolution. I think, Jim, are you still here? No, I think Jim left. Jim Spadaccini was here. He's the creator of this. His company is called IDEUM in New Mexico. It's been very popular. It's a more intimate way to interact with the maps. And then finally, I just want to bring to your attention a new feature that we'll be launching in 2 weeks on my map site. And it is searching text on maps, searching town names on maps. So it's something we've worked on for a year and a half. It was a joint effort of the Rumsey Map Collection and the Alan Turing Institute in London, Katie McDonough and Vittoria Vitali, and then Yao-Yi Chang's incredible computer lab at the University of Minnesota. He created the Map Curator software. And then finally, Rainer Simon in Vienna did the annotation adjustments. What this does is essentially allows you to search in a different way. So if you're searching our collections now, you search by the metadata. Those are the catalog records that we make. And we try to do the best we can with catalog data to mention all the important things. But for instance, if you search for the Mississippi River by the catalog data, you get about 680 results. If you search with our new tool, you get thousands of results because it's going into each map and finding the words Mississippi River, and then it shows it. And I'll display it for you live in a minute. So it's going to be a whole different way of searching. You can search for obscure things, things that never would have come in. It's being done on 60,000 of our maps that are already georeferenced. So we'll be able to link out to historical gazetteers and other sources using both the geo coordinates of any name, and we also have, of course, the pixel coordinates. So we also then show it, the same search, we show it on the maps themselves with these little yellow dots showing where the word is. Here it's just in the text, and here it's on the map itself in the title, and so on. So I'm going to escape out of this, and I will dare to show you something live, which is always scary. Top one. Oh, yeah, perfect. Thank you. Thanks. So this is a result of searching the normal way for the name Lighthouse. We get about 19 results, which is good. But then, a second, I just need, if we change and search for the word lighthouse, text on maps, then we start getting, what, 1,500 results. So these come in one at a time and fill up the screen. If you mouse over any one, it'll give you the map that it's on and show you where it is. And then when you click on the map itself, it opens the map and it zooms right in to the term lighthouse. So thank you. It's been a long effort, but I think, initially it's going to have a bunch of different kinds of utility. We showed it to a bunch of scholars here who thought it would enable them to really ask new kinds of questions. Here's the results coming in from maps themselves. And sometimes you'll get 2 results on one map, and when you go over the map, you'll see those multiple results. So I think it's going to give you a new way to get lost in this digital world. And we'll expect to refine it over the coming years. We will be adding Cyrillic, Chinese, Japanese, and Ottoman Arabic we hope by January. It's actually quite hard to do those languages, as you can imagine, because they exist in many forms. Cyrillic is probably the easiest. And then we'll hope to, over the coming years, add more libraries to this, so we can get, right now it's a corpus of 60,000 maps, and which is 100 million text words in GeoJSON files. So it's an average of about, 1,600 names per map. Going forward, I'm going to be starting a project this year to work on building preservation containers for complex digital maps. There are amazing digital maps being made, story maps, GIS, all of which have a very short shelf life. And so I've been adding digital things to the collection over the years, mostly web pages, but it's very hard to maintain them because the technology changes and so on. So we're going to look at what kinds of emulation devices can we build. And I expect to partner with Internet Archive, where I'm on the board, because at archive.org, we've done a ton of work on game emulation and operating system platform emulation. But I think it's very important to do this work with digital maps because, frankly, in 25 years or less, all newly made maps are going to be digital. And so, the ones that we have today will be old and interesting to people the same way that our other maps are. So that's about it for the update. I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have on the text searching or any of the other things that I mentioned. Yes.
On some of my old maps, some of the text is very ornate. And I'm just wondering if you can handle that.
Yeah, that's it. That'll be a challenge. But I should have mentioned it's particularly when you mean the serifs and yeah, the way the software does it essentially builds training models. And we have a training model on serif stuff, but the older the map is, the more idiosyncratic it is. So we may get it or may not, or we may get part of it. But we have built in what Rainer Simon did, the collaborator in Vienna. We have a whole, I should have mentioned this, we have a human correction tool. So if you find it on a map, you can go in and correct the outline, correct the name, everything, and save it. So we're hoping that we'll, through crowdsourcing, get people interested in making those corrections. So we have AI doing the original scan, and then we have humans improving on that or correcting it. Yeah.
I'll ask a question.
Okay.
Can you tell us about the 8K monitor and why you're excited about that?
Yeah, the touch table. Well, we've had a touch table for a while, a touch screen for a while over here on my right. And people have loved that, particularly undergraduate students that just come in here during the day. It's a way to interact and see maps. The touch tables offers, you know, a more collaborative approach. You can work, you can have a group, a class on all four sides, and you can explore the maps together. You can slide them across the table. It just offers yet another, you know, surface, another way of doing it. We have another touch table downstairs. We've had that for 7 years since we opened as a sort of introductory table. But this is really a table to work with. IDEUM, the company that made it, they are the largest provider of these types of tables to museums in the United States. And so it's been very useful so far. Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what a preservation container might mean?
Yeah, well, I can only tell you sort of conceptually. It's a great question. What it means is that it will be an environment in which the map will be able to be seen and played with as originally intended without needing any affordances around it. So it'll be a self-contained. You know, a physical example of it would be, and some people do this, they just save their computers. They have things that run on their computer and they save the computer. They don't do any updates. They just, and that becomes a physical container that works. We need to do it really as a software emulation. But basically, you know, how long will story maps last? We hope for a long time, but they may well be deprecated at some point by ESRI or changed, whatever. So it would be a way to keep the system that it runs on going. Yes, you try to create the entire experience, both showing it and exactly the tools to explore it. Yeah.
David, thank you very much for presenting. We really appreciate it. And I actually have a small gift for you. I was at the Exploratorium recently and I thought of you because I bought a magnet that says the art of tinkering.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.